Hello, ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully. You know what's easy? Shouting, hating, marching around with a flag in one hand and a grudge in the other. You know what's easy? War cries. You know what's even easier? Blaming the other side. Pointing fingers from across the border, like kids in a playground yelling, he started it. But you know what's hard? Peace. That's right. Peace is not for cowards. Peace is for warriors. It takes a storm of guts to hold your fire when your blood is boiling. It takes a mountain of strength to say, no, not this time, not again. Because peace doesn't scream, it whispers. And only the bold dare to hear it. We, India and Pakistan, we are twins born of the same land, split by history, scarred by politics, but still connected by the same sky, the same soil, the same madness, the same music, the same hunger to live. And let me tell you something, every time we choose bullets over brains, fire over future, rage over reason, we are both bleeding. Both, not one, not the enemy, not the other side, us together, side by side in loss. The world keeps asking, when will they stop? And I say, we don't stop by waiting, we stop by waiting. Wake up, you're not born to be a pawn in somebody else's game. You're not born to carry the burden of ancient hate. You're born to break it. You're born to rewrite the narrative. War is not a movie. It's not a patriotic montage with music swelling in the background and flags fluttering in slow motion. War is screaming mothers, burnt fields, broken minds. And let's not get fooled by the glamour of vengeance. Revenge is lazy. Peace is legendary. You want to be legendary. You want to be the storm that changes everything. Then don't pick up a gun. Pick up your voice. Pick up your vision. Say it looting, I will not be manipulated, I will not be used. You think peace is weak. Tell me, what's weak about rebuilding? What's soft about choosing love when hate is fashionable? What's cowardly about raising children who don't grow up with terror tattooed on their hearts? Look at the power we hold. Look at the electricity running through these nations. Raw, untamed, unstoppable youth. And what are we doing with it? Feeding it fear. Feeding it division. Like two champions stuck in a grudge match, throwing punches in the dark. Enough! We fought the war of borders. Now fight the war within. The war against ignorance. The war against blind loyalty. The war against the noise that says peace is not cool enough. Peace is cool. Peace is savage. Peace is revolutionary. Peace is the biggest flex. The loudest roar doesn't come from bombs. It comes from forgiveness. From the silence after the storm. When two enemies choose to sit down and say, let's stop. You don't need to lose your identity to find peace. You don't have to forget the past. But don't get stuck in it either. You're not born to inherit someone else's hatred. You're born to invent your own truth. I'm talking to the heart of the mother who wants her son back alive. I'm talking to the eyes of the soldier who wonders what he's guarding, land or a legacy of pain. I'm talking to you, the youth who scrolls through stories of conflict and thinks, this is normal. It's not normal, it's tragic, it's lazy, it's the script we've followed for too long. Tear it up, write a new one. One with light, one with courage, one with clarity. Peace is the new rebellion. And it's not quiet, it's loud, it's bold, it's crazy, it's viral. It's us choosing not to be puppets anymore. It's us saying, let's fix it. Let's talk, let's trade, let's travel, let's leave him. I'm not asking you to bow down. I'm asking you to rise up. Not in hate, but in purpose. Rise up. Not for war, but for worth. Rise up. Not because someone told you to, but because your soul says, I'm done with this nonsense. Done with loss. Done with grief. Done with the cycle. Don't let fear write your story. Don't let anger be your anthem. Let greatness be your goal. Let peace be your power. Because when two giants like us choose to walk together instead of against each other, the world watches in awe. Be the one who dares. Be the one who shocks the world, not with destruction, but with dignity. Not with missiles, but with music. Not rage, but with results. Peace isn't passive. It's active. It's fierce. It's the real battlefield. And only the strongest survive it. So let them call you mad. Let them laugh. Let them say it's impossible. You walk through that noise with your chest out, eyes blazing, and saying, watch me. You look across the border and you see a flag, you see a name, you see a country. But you know what I see? I see people. I see mothers praying the same way. I see fathers working day and night to feed their families. I see children playing cricket in the streets, dreaming, laughing, falling, rising, just like ours. And that's what hits me like lightning. We're not enemies, we're neighbors, side by side, mirror images. Same roots, same pain, same fire, same heartbreak, same blood rushing through the veins of history. But someone told you otherwise. Someone said, no, no, hate them, fear them, they are not like you. And you believed it. We all did, didn't we? They told us we were born to be divided, born to be rivals, born to be at war. And we ate that story like it was the truth. But it's not the truth, it's a lie. A beautiful lie dressed up as patriotism, but stitched together with fear. Let me tell you something wild, something outrageous. We've been living in reverse. What should have been friendship turned into silence. What should have been bridges became barbed wire. What should have been handshakes became clenched fists. But now we're awake. Now we're dangerous in the best way possible. Because once you realize your enemy isn't your enemy, everything changes. I want you to feel this in your chesting. We are not at war. We are in confusion. And confusion can be cleared. The fog can lift. The damage can heal. But only when we stop seeing each other as threats, start seeing each other as reflections. You see, a neighbor is not just a person who lives next to you. A neighbor is a reminder that you are not alone in this world. You want to fight something. Fight poverty. Fight ignorance. Fight the voices that get rich while we get ruined. Fight the headlines that feed you fear with your morning tea. Fight the silence between us that keeps getting louder. Because real war is not across borders. Real war is inside our hearts. And that war is screaming to end. We share rivers. We share music. We share madness. We even share mangoes, man. And yet here we are, loaded with suspicion, trained to hate someone we've never even met. Tell me, is that strength? Or is that manipulation dressed up as pride? You want pride? You want real national pride? Then be the first to say enough. Be the first to say, I will not carry this anger anymore. I will not be your puppet. That's strength. That's power. That's rebellion. This generation, you, me, all of us, we were not born to relieve the tragedies of the past. We were born to rewrite them. We were born to create a version of history where neighbors aren't afraid to knock on each other's door. Imagine this. No tension, no threat, just celebration, collaboration, fireworks from both sides, not bombs, applause, not sirens, peace talks that actually talk and don't just pretend to. Crazy, right? But everything legendary started off sounding crazy. Dreams always do. You think it's impossible? Let me remind you, so was flying, so was the internet, so was space travel, so was peace, until someone said, we're doing it anyway. So let's be the ones who say it. Say it L-O-U-D. Say it with fire. We are not enemies. We are neighbors, and we refuse to stay caged in someone else's hate. Because hate is heavy, it's exhausting, it ages you, it weakens your spirit. But love, understanding, respect, that's rocket fuel, that lifts you, that builds nations, that breaks curses. Let the world call you foolish. Let them say, don't trust them. Let them whisper that you've lost your edge. Let them talk. And while they talk, you build. You build connection, you build courage, you build history, you build legacy. We don't need to erase our scars, we need to transform them into wisdom. The kind of wisdom that says, we know what pain looks like and we choose not to pass it on. We are too powerful, too intelligent, too gifted to let this old script define our future. The script of bombs, of borders soaked in tears, of silence louder than any siren, no more. Rip the script, burn the blueprint of conflict. Design your own story, a story where neighbors don't just tolerate, they celebrate. You know what happens when two neighbors come together? The whole street changes. The whole region wakes up. The whole world pays attention. Because they never thought we would do it. They never believed we could. But just what? We just did, because we are not enemies. We never were. That's just what they told us. But today we stop listening. Today we speak. Today we decide we are neighbors. And we will act like it. You know what's wild? We've got this thing. This beast called history. And instead of using it to fly, we let it chain us. We drag it behind us like a ball of fire, pretending it's a trophy. Pretending that pain is glory, that loss is identity, that suffering is a badge of honor. But what if I told you that you're not supposed to live inside history, you're supposed to learn from it and then break OT of it like a storm. You don't wear history like handcuffs. You wear it like armor. You don't get stuck in the past like it's your final destination. It's a map, not a prison. It's not your cage, it's your compass. It tells you where the dangers are. It shows you went wrong so you can make it right. But what do? We keep going in circles. War, blame, fear, repeat. Like broken robots with a script we never wrote but somehow can't stop reading. Come on, man, you're not a robot. You're a revolution. Why are we letting old wounds speak louder than new dreams? Why are we letting the ghosts of yesterday choke the voice of tomorrow? We know the history. Yes, we do. We know about the partitions, the pain, the blood, the betrayals. But what next? Are we going to live our entire lives as prisoners of that chapter? Or are we finally going to pick up the pen and write the next one? Let me tell you something electric. Your past is not more powerful than your future. Your scars are not heavier than your potential. The world is full of people who want you to stay angry, stay divided, stay small. But your job, your duty, is to be bigger than the narrative they've trapped you in. Look around. Both our nations are roaring with energy. Creativity, business, sports, cinema, science, it's fire. But we're too busy aiming our light at each other like lasers instead of combining it into something blindingly brilliant. Because someone somewhere decided that if we ever stopped fighting, we'd be unstoppable. And they were right. That's why they keep reminding you of history like it's a threat. But I say, remind yourself of history like it's a warning, not to repeat it, not to worship it, but to evolve from it. You want to talk about bravery. Forget the wars. Forget the missiles. You want to see real courage? Watch two people with pain in their past, with tears in their lineage, sit down and say, let's not do this anymore. That's power. That's dangerous. That's legendary. I'm telling you, we were not born to bleed the same wounds over and over again. We were born to break cycle. The loop ends here, this generation and me, we are the glitch in that broken pattern. We are the reboot. So yeah, remember the past, respect it, mourn it, study it, but don't sleep in it, don't raise your kids in it. Don't carry it like it owns your identity. You're not just a product of history, you are the architect of your destiny. And history, it doesn't care if we repeat it. It doesn't beg us to grow. It just sits there, silent and cold, waiting for someone brave enough to learn and move forward. So be that someone. Be the earthquake. Be the thunder that shakes the dust off dead stories and creates new ones. Listen, man, we don't need perfect leaders. We don't need fake peace talks on fancy tables. We need real people. People like you. Who choose peace not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Because it's intelligent. Because it's rebellious. Let me ask you something insane. What if we treated our shared pain as a bridge instead of a bomb? What if we looked at our grandparents' tears and said, thank you for surviving, now let me live differently? What if we used history not to divide, but to design a future where the borders exist on maps but not in our hearts? Design a world where we stop whispering enemy and start screaming human. Design a legacy where our children don't have to carry the fire of our fury, only the light of our wisdom. You feel that? That's not idealism. That's revolution in your bones. And yeah, it'll be hard. You'll get mocked. Called a traitor, called knave. But let them talk. They talked when people wanted to end apartheid. They talked when people marched for civil rights. They always talk. But the future doesn't listen to noise. It listens to moves. So move different. Think different. Speak different. Forgive different. Burn the blueprint of hatred and draw your own map. Let the compass of history point you forward, not backward. Let the past be your teacher, not your trap. And the next time someone says, but look what they did in the past, you stand tall and say, watch what I'm about to do in the future. Because your future is not built on what happened. It's built on what you choose now. Let me tell you something mad, something wild, something that'll shake your bones. Real power isn't loud. It's not angry. It doesn't scream through megaphones or punch walls or light borders on fire. Real power, it breathes calmly when cause dances in front of it. Real power is restraint. Anyone can explode. That's easy. Just add fear, add ego, add rage, and boom, you've got war, you've got destruction, you've got noise. But that's not strength. That's reaction. That's immaturity in a fancy uniform. You know what's powerful? Holding the fire inside and still choosing peace. That's gangster. That's king level. That's God mode self-control. The world thinks power is tanks, missiles, angry speeches, and blood on streets. But listen to me, a weak man needs to prove strength by showing it. A strong man doesn't need to show a damn thing. He walks away. He smiles at provocation. He holds the line with silence sharper than any sword. Look, they'll poke you. They'll test you. They'll call you soft if you don't punch back. But that's because they're scared of the one who doesn't react. Because the one who holds back, he's not suppressing weakness. He's containing nuclear energy. The world's filled with hotheads. Full of people who explode over words, over flags, over borders they didn't even draw. But imagine a world run by the ones who don't flinch, don't scream, don't pull triggers at the first threat. That's a world of warriors, not warmongers. And that's who we need to be. You, me, all of us. Not reactors, responders. Not puppets yanked by every insult, but masters of our own madness. You think war is strength? No. War is what happens when people run out of strength to be wise, when they collapse under the weight of ego and call it patriotism, when they let pride hijack peace. But peace is the real battlefield. And those who fight for it, without fists, without fire, those are the real soldiers. Let me tell you something even crazier. It takes times more courage to stay calm than to hit back. It takes the heart of a lion to choose words over weapons, patience over provocation. And let me remind you, there is no greater flex than staying silent while the world tries to shake you. I've seen it. I've felt it. 1 second of rage can burn what took decades to build. One reaction can pull generations into darkness. But one act of restraint, it can change everything. It can stop the fire before it spreads. It can rewrite a story that was headed straight into disaster. That is legacy. That is legend. That is power in its purest, deadliest, most divine form. You know why restraint scares people? Because it's unpredictable. Because they can't measure it, can't control it. Because it says, I'm stronger than your hate. I don't need to respond. I choose when to speak, when to act, when to forgive. And that is terrifying to those who only understand noise. Let them beat drums of war. Let them throw words like daggers. But you stay still, you be the ocean. Deep, unbothered, unshaken. Because when the waves finally rise, you won't drown in emotion. You'll flood the world with clarity. You think I'm just talking politics. No, I'm talking humanity. I'm talking about rising above the animal instinct to attack. I'm talking about mastering the art of holding your power without flashing it. I'm talking about becoming so grounded in your peace that no war can reach you. They'll call it weakness. They'll say, look, they didn't strike back, but they don't see what's happening behind those calm eyes. They don't see the storm you're taming, the rage you're converting into wisdom, the war you're winning inside yourself. Because that's where the real war is, isn't it? Inside, that split second where you can either become your enemy or become the example. That moment where your ego wants revenge, but your soul whispers, no, we end it here. And if you listen to that whisper, my God, you become unstoppable. They want a reaction, don't give it. They want noise, don't make it. They want war, don't fuel it. You know why? Because when you control your urge to retaliate, you don't just save your dignity, you save futures, you save homes, you save hearts. That's not weak. That's divine. That's what leaders are made of. Real power isn't in bullets, it's in boundaries. It's in saying, I could destroy you, but I choose not to, because I'm not here to prove power, I'm here to protect peace. That kind of restraint, it's rare, it's gold, it's royalty. And let me tell you something fierce. The world doesn't need more fighters, it needs more finishers. More people who end the cycle, who stop the madness, who say, not in my name, not in my time. You want to be powerful? Then don't just fight. Forgive. Don't just defend, understand. Don't just scream. Lead, because a man who controls his anger can lead empires, but a man controlled by anger, he destroys them. So hold that line. Be the calm. Be the clarity. Be the one who proves that real power isn't in how hard you hit back, it's in how hard you refuse to. Let me just say this straight, loud, and mad. We are stronger together than we ever were apart. And I know people don't like to hear that. I know it makes them uncomfortable, restless, maybe even angry. Because when two forces who've been taught to stand opposite suddenly side by side, the world shakes. See, they've been feeding us pride like poison, wrapping it in flags, serving it on plates made of history, telling us, you're better than them. They're different from you. Protect your pride, even if it costs peace. What they don't tell you is that divided pride is a weapon, one that kills from the inside first. And we've been walking around with loaded egos and empty hands, hands that should have been building bridges, creating futures, crafting empires of light, not burning in the flames of old wounds. You tell me, how long do we keep dragging the same chains and calling it culture? How long do we confuse arrogance with patriotism? Listen to me. True power doesn't come from shooting. I'm right. It comes from leaning in and saying, let's be powerful together. Because united strength, man, that's not just a force, it's a storm that nothing can stop. When two broken pieces finally fit, they don't become a scar, they become a weapon, whole, sharp, unshackable. You want to talk about pride? Let's talk about the kind of pride that lifts, not divides. The pride of watching two former rivals rise together, not bleed separately. The pride of saying, we've been to war. Now let's build peace so loud the world hears it like a drumbeat. That's not weakness, that's nuclear unity. That's madness turned into magic. And don't think I'm talking sweet peace slogans and paper treaties. No, I'm talking about the kind of unity that roars, that does business together, creates together, stands tall together so high that old voices of division sound like whispers from the gutter. You know why they're scared of unity? Because if we ever stopped fighting, we'd own the damn future. We'd be unstoppable. Our minds, our resources, our youth, our hearts. If they moved as one current, it wouldn't be a river, it'd be a tsunami. So of course they want you distracted. Of course you're comparing pain, comparing scars, keeping score. Because the moment you stop doing that, the moment you look across that invisible line and see a brother, a sister, a mirror, the game's over. That's what they're afraid of. Not war. Not weapons, togetherness. Because togetherness cancels the whole damn agenda. It flips the script, it writes new headlines, it creates new billionaires, new peacekeepers, new kings who don't need a throne because their power isn't territorial. It's spiritual. Let me drop this wild truth on you. Unity isn't about forgetting who you are. It's about realizing how powerful you become when you stop using identity as a wall. When you wear your roots like wings, not chains. When you know that dignity isn't proven through conflict. It's proven through creation. They gave us borders. We drew lines. They gave us stories of division. We turned them into truth. But it's time now, time to snap the spine of that script. Time to say enough. Enough of blood on soil. Enough of names wrapped in hatred. Enough of children born into rivalry like it's their destiny. Because destiny is not what you inherit. It's what you decide. Right here. Right now. And if you're brave enough to break away from the pride that separates and bold enough to lean into the power that unites, then you're not just a citizen of a country, you become a creator of a legacy. Truly win, then stop aiming for being right and start aiming for being legendary. Legends don't play by the old rules. Legends write their own chapters. And the chapter we write together, that one shakes the world. United strength is a fist. Divided pride is fingers pointing blame. You want to hit the sky, you don't fly solo. You launch as a fleet. Let them talk, let them say we're too emotional, too idealistic, too crazy. Good, because only the crazy ones tear down walls. Only the emotional ones heal generations. Only the wild ones take the script of hate and light it on fire. And don't wait for leaders. You are the leader. Don't wait for someone else to speak first. Be the one who walks across. Be the hand that reaches out. Be the earthquake in your family, your school, your city. That shifts the ground from division to dignity. Because in the end, the power was never in pride. It was always in unity. I'll say something now that might shake your soul or piss you off, and I'm fine with both. Because this truth, it's too loud to be ignored anymore. The enemy was never the country across the border. The enemy was never the religion, never the language, never the color, never the anthem. The real enemy is hatred. Hatred is the real bomb. Hatred is the virus. Hatred is the invisible demon that wraps itself around hearts, poisons the mind, and makes you believe your brother is your rival. Your neighbor is your threat. Your reflection is a target. It crawls into our conversations, our media, our school books, our dinner tables. And it whispers, they are not like you. They don't deserve to breathe beside you. And we believed it. My God, we believed it. We were fed it like fire disguised as food. And we swallowed it thinking it was strength. But it wasn't. It was decay. It was darkness. Let me tell you something dangerous. Hatred needs you to be blind. Because if you ever truly see the person across from you, you'll realize they cry like you. They laugh like you, they love their mother just like you, they miss their childhood just like you. And then all of hatred's power collapses in one moment of human truth. But you know why hatred survives? Because it's profitable. It's sold like a product. They put it in headlines, in hashtags, in speeches, in movies. Them versus us. Good vs evil. Right vs? Wrong. This flag or that flag? You've been sold fear and they told you it was loyalty. Loyalty to what? Loyalty to hate is not loyalty, it's slavery. Slavery to the past, slavery to division, slavery to an enemy that doesn't even bleed when you shoot your brother. Because when we bleed, hatred drinks it. When we fight, hatred feasts. When we fall apart, hatred becomes king. It wants chaos, it wants wants war songs louder than lullabies. It wants generations born into anger like it's oxygen. But you don't have to feed it. You can break the cycle. You can crush it under your heel and say, not anymore, not in my heart, not in my home, not in my time. Because here's the madness, hating each other has never helped either of us win. No once, not ever. All it's done is burn futures, bury sons, build borders out of bones. The fire you light for your enemy eventually eats your own house. You think you're proving strength by choosing hate. No, you're proving weakness. You're proving you've been played. You're proving you gave up your mind for a script that someone else wrote. Hatred wants you to forget who you are, that you were born pure, that your blood isn't coded for conflict. It wants you to scream slogans instead of stories, to chant curses instead of questions, to throw stones instead of solutions. But what if you stopped? What if just for a moment you looked into the eyes of your enemy and saw not a rival, but a mirror? That's when the real war begins. The war against the hatred you've been taught, the war against the noise inside your head, the war against the fear you didn't even know you were breathing. And it takes guts. It takes fire, not the fire of revenge, but the fire of revolution, a revolution that starts in your heart. A rebellion that says, I refuse to hate. I refuse to kill love to protect lies. Because hatred doesn't make you a hero. It makes you hollow, makes you tired, makes you lose sleep and lose soul. And one day when you're old, when your hands shake and your voice softens, and all the flags have faded, you'll ask yourself, what did I win? If the answer is only graves and grudges, then was it worth it? Don't tell me peace is soft. Tell me love is weak. Don't tell me compassion is cowardice. Because it takes more strength to forgive than to fight. More strength to listen than to yell. More strength to say, let's stop this, than to keep the fire burning. The coward runs into war thinking it's a badge. But the warrior walks into peace knowing it's a battle. And I'm not asking you to love blindly. I'm not asking you to forget history. I'm asking you to rise above it. To become bigger than it. To be bold enough to say, I am done being a puppet for someone else's hate. Because when we finally kill the hatred, we win everything else. We win our youth back, our families, our cultures back, our futures back. The greatest enemy was never each other. It was always the hatred that made us forget we were one.